Welcome back to Sawteeth Tactical. On Sundays, I do Second Amendment news videos generally, and the biggest news this week, obviously, was the attempted assassination of Donald Trump. But I want to do this video from a little bit different perspective than everything else that I've seen about it, specifically from the perspective of you and me as, legal gun owners in this country, and a lesson that I learned from what happened last weekend. So I know that I've waited a little while to put out anything about this topic, and I did that on purpose. I wanted to see what really came out first, because there's a lot of theories, and honestly, I'm not really opposed to those theories. There are a lot of conspiracy theories, and before we get started, let me know what your theory is. Was this on purpose? Did they try to take out Donald Trump because everything else that they've done to try to take him out of the election hasn't worked? Let me know what you guys think. There's a lot of memes about it that are pretty good. But yeah, I want to know what your conspiracy theories are, and then I'm going to talk about what I learned from this, because I did learn a lesson that I think we could all take something away from. So make sure you're subscribed, and let's talk about it. Before we get too far into this, I do just want to say that I feel terrible for the family of Corey Comparatore. He was the father that did get killed during this attempted assassination of Donald Trump. So the shooter there was a murderer and did kill somebody, and from all accounts seemed like a really good guy, a family man protecting his family in his last moments of life, an ex-firefighter. And from everything that I've seen, probably a really good guy. And that is an absolute tragedy. But besides that, the fact that a shooter was able to get within a pretty easy distance to be able to take a shot or multiple shots on the front runner for the Republican side in this next presidential election and an ex-president of the United States of America is kind of a big deal. And it says something about the Secret Service and how did they let something like this happen? Did they let it happen on purpose? Again, I'm not going to spout any conspiracy theories here, but things do look a little bit fishy. But really quick, I want to talk about something that I learned through this whole thing, about myself and my own preparedness. So when this happened, I was out camping with my daughter. We went out camping last weekend on Saturday, just up in the Idaho wilderness. We came back on Sunday. There was a lot of bugs. It was kind of rough camping compared to how it normally is. But so when this happened, I did not know that it happened because I was out of anywhere that had any cell reception. And so I did not get the news of it. And when I came back into town the next day, I had a message on my phone from my father telling me that somebody attempted to assassinate Donald Trump. And so as I got home, I was very interested in what happened. I immediately started looking into what happened. And I get a lot of my news from the internet, as a lot of people do these days. And one of the first things I saw was, and I can't remember the source, this was last weekend, but somebody saying that it was really, really lucky that the shooter wasn't successful in killing Donald Trump because it might have plunged our country into absolute chaos and possibly a civil war. Now, do I know that that is what would have happened? Absolutely not. But it gave me reason to pause and think, because when I went out camping, I took my P365 XL, my concealed carry firearm. It goes everywhere with me. And I took my 300 Blackout Shorty here with two magazines. One 30-round mag of supers and a 20-round mag of subs. Good defensive ammunition. But my only thought process in taking that firearm specifically was a little more firepower than, a really small 9mm pistol, just in the very unlikely chance that we ran into like a bear or a mountain lion or something. Before I get into what I learned about why I maybe should have brought more with me, let's hear a very quick word from our channel partner. If you'd like to help support Sawtooth Tactical, the very best way to do that is to click the first link in the description. That link is aura.com/sawtooth-tactical. If you use my link, you get a 2-week free trial. And you can quit anytime, but you probably want to stick with it as I have. What has Aura done for me? Well, I don't get any spam calls anymore. I don't get spam emails. I don't get calls from scammers. What they do is they find all the data brokers that have your information online. They submit opt-out requests on your behalf so that you don't get scammers and spam calls anymore. But they do a lot of other things too. They have a VPN, which just helps to protect your privacy. They've got a ton of stuff, and it all comes in at a very low price. If you stick with it after that 2 weeks, it is only $12 a month. I think Aura is pretty cool because they sponsor gun-related channels, which not a lot of sponsors are willing to do that. And it really helps channels like mine be able to produce this kind of content. YouTube doesn't really like to monetize gun-related videos anymore. And so sponsors like Aura make things like Mark 18 builds possible. So check it out. It's definitely worth trying it out for 2 weeks. Like I said, you're probably going to want to stick with it. I don't have to worry about scammers anymore. I don't have to worry about spam calls, spam emails. And that's been really nice. I use my phone for work, and so I have to answer calls that I don't recognize all the time. And none of them are scammers anymore. And I really like that. So again, check it out. First link in the description, aura.com/sawtooth-tactical. I can almost guarantee that you're going to love it. Check it out. As I said, I was out camping with my daughter. I brought with me my P365 XL and my 300 Blackout with 50 rounds of ammo. I thought that was plenty, maybe even overkill to some people for just going camping overnight up in the Idaho mountains. Well, when I got back and heard what happened, and people were talking about how, we were this far away as far as the bullet goes, from our country being in total chaos and a possible civil war, as the whole, right side, the Republican side of the country probably would have thought that the Democrats obviously took out Donald Trump since they haven't been able to take him out of the race any other way. That would have been a very big deal for our country. And it made me think, if I had driven back into civilization with just a 9mm pistol, and I only had one magazine, one 12-round magazine with my carry gun that day, and 50 rounds of 300 Blackout, would that have been enough to deal with the possible situation I might have found myself in coming back into town, into civilization? Now, obviously, we got lucky, and Donald Trump was not killed that day, which, I thank God for. And I'm not the biggest Trump lover in the world, but I do think that he is a much, much better choice than Joe Biden. And we're going to talk about his vice president choice here in a minute, too, because as far as the Second Amendment goes, he's getting thumbs up from me. But the lesson that I learned, and maybe the takeaway from this, is that maybe it's not overkill to bring something a little bit more with you. If I had come back, in that instant, something that I never would have expected to have happened while we're out camping, if in that instant, our former president was shot and killed, and I came back into a civil war, I would want to have more than 50 rounds and my 300 Blackout with me. I'd probably want something like this with me and a lot more magazines. I'd probably want, a pistol that I feel a little bit more capable with than my P365 XL. And I feel perfectly capable with that pistol. But my point is if we had to maybe fight our way home, if we ran into, I don't know what, because it didn't happen. But I learned a lesson about preparedness that day, in that, in the matter of an instant, everything can change. Something that you have no reason to suspect might happen could happen. But really, do we have no reason to suspect something like this might happen? with the way that the left has demonized Trump over the last decade now, is it any surprise that somebody that's mentally ill took all that stuff to heart? You know, you call somebody Hitler enough, wouldn't you want to be the guy to take out Hitler if you could? You know, and I'm sure many of you know that that's ridiculous, that Trump isn't Hitler, but obviously some people do believe that kind of rhetoric. And so as shocking as this is, it's almost not surprising. But besides that, what do you guys think really happened? Do you guys think that this shooter really acted alone? This 20-year-old was somehow able to get on a roof with direct line of sight to the former president within 130 yards. I mean, 130 yards is not a very difficult shot, you know, if you spend any time shooting and you have a decent rifle. Now, and I'm not sure yet, I've filmed this video before Sunday when it's coming out. The way my schedule works, I have to film stuff in advance. I have a full-time job besides making these YouTube videos. But as of right now, from what I have heard, the shooter might have only had iron sights. Which iron sights at 130 yards? Okay, not the easiest shot on a head-sized target. I get that. But, you know, if he was really trying to do this, why is he shooting a rifle with iron sights? Why is he able to get on that building and not get taken out by Secret Service before he's able to get multiple shots off? Did he really not have any help? They haven't been able to get into his cell phone yet? Seems a little suspect to me. But I want to know what you guys think about if there's anybody else behind this, or if this just was a mentally ill person that, you know, took all this rhetoric about how Trump is pure evil and took it to heart and thought that he needed to take him out to save democracy or some bullshit like that. But really quick, let's talk about Trump's VP pick. At the Republican National Convention this week, he picked JD Vance. Now, I didn't really know a whole lot about JD Vance before this pick, but I looked into it once I heard who he picked. Because, you know, the vice president pick is important for a lot of reasons. And we're not a politics channel, and we're not going to go into all those reasons. Mostly the politics we talk about here has to do with things like the ATF infringing on our rights. And the Biden administration, which is one reason that I support Trump in this election over Joe Biden. And I understand that Trump does not have the best record on firearms in the Second Amendment. But from what I've seen, he's also probably learned some lessons that many of his supporters are not okay with that. So hopefully he's changed his tune as far as gun rights goes. Well, his VP pick kind of does show that. So JD Vance has like an F rating from, you know, Moms Demand Action or these gun control groups, which means that he has an A rating from me. The GOA has put out a thing about him. He has voted against gun control 100% of the time, and has even said that he would be for disbanding, abolishing the ATF. So the guy gets a thumbs up from me so far. I don't know a whole lot else about him except that he has really a great story. It's the American dream. Came from poverty, went into the Marines right out of high school, went to Yale Law School, made himself wealthy and a senator, and now he is Trump's pick for vice president. Now, if that's not the American dream, then I don't know what is. But the important thing to me and to this channel and to probably many of my audience members here is that he is very much against gun control. There are pictures of him out there with AR-15s. He is, you know, pro Second Amendment. And that is really important to me. And I think that was a smart pick by Donald Trump then. Because a lot of the Second Amendment community, is wary of Trump after his first presidential term and things like the bump stock ban and other things that he said about firearms, that didn't align with our beliefs. So the fact that he picked a guy for his VP that is very much pro Second Amendment and very much against gun control, I am all for it. So anyway, like I said, learned a little bit of a lesson. being out camping when this whole thing went down and realizing that maybe I wasn't quite prepared for the way that the world, or the country at least, could have been, coming back into town one day later. And, if things had been just a little bit different, could have maybe been coming back into a situation where I wished I had more firepower on me, maybe. And so maybe that's a lesson to learn, is to, just be a little bit more prepared. Our country is in a very divided state right now. And it will be leading up to this election and probably afterward, no matter which direction the election goes. Guns and ammo still haven't really gone up in price like they usually do in election years. In fact, this week, like 5.56 ammo seems to be getting cheaper. I bought some of the most inexpensive 5.56, actually 223, but 55 grain that I've bought in years this week. So ammo prices are good. Make sure you're stocked up. Election years, you never know what might happen, but generally, people go out and buy guns and ammo. It's good to be prepared. So don't be the one caught without any and panic buying when the price does go up. The price might not go up, but the price is better than it's been in a long time right now. So it's a good time to stock up. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a like. Again, in the comments, let me know your conspiracy theories, because, most of the conspiracy theories the last few years have turned out to be true. So let me know what you think really happened at this attempted assassination of Donald Trump down in the comments. From Sawtooth Tactical, stay strapped or get clapped.